Hello YouTube, how's everyone doing? It's Professional here. So today I got a pretty cool video for you guys and some good news. So about a week ago, a new studio was formed called New Radical Games, and this is the successor to Radical Entertainment, which we never imagined would actually come back. Now, for Radical Entertainment, these guys are the guys who have made the Scarface game and their most famous game, Simpsons Home Hit and Run. But they've also made the prototype games. I think they also made Incredible Hulk. But they haven't made that many games, but they're known for making some pretty good games. And so we never imagined that this studio would come back. Now, it's not entirely the exact same studio, but the founder of the original company is back, and he has a team with him, a lot of people that are from the original company. And there's also new people as well, and this means that we might actually get a Scarface remake, which that's what I'm excited for the most, wearing my Scarface suit here. Now, whether we get the Scarface remake or the remaster, that's going to be kind of an if. I think it's possible we'll get it, or we might not get it. I'll explain a little bit more later on. But anyways, let's read through this article. I'll link the article down below. Simpsons Hit and Run and prototype studio Radical Entertainment is back as New Radical Games. The studio has a new website and appears to be looking for work. The studio behind titles such as The Simpsons Hit and Run and Prototype has returned under a new name. New Radical Games describes itself as Radical Entertainment, plus Hothead Games, implying that the new company is a successor to both defunct studios, so also for Hothead Games. Radical Entertainment was founded in 1991 in Vancouver and was acquired by Vivendi in 2005, then by Activision in 2008. By the end of 2013, the studio had essentially closed in all but name, with the Canadian government dissolving its incorporated status and the few remaining staff assisting on other Activision projects. Hothead Games was a Vancouver-based studio which developed titles such as Penny Arcade Adventures and Dev's Bank before moving on to mobile games. It went bankrupt in late 2024. Now, however, both studios appear to have resurrected as New Radical Games with Ian Wilkinson as CEO and president and Tim Benison as COO. Wilkinson was one of Radical Entertainment's co-founders. After the company was sold to Vivendi, he left Radical in 2008 and moved to Hothead, where he served as the studio's president for the next 16 years. Benison was previously COO and studio director at Capcom Vancouver, then joined Hothead in 2020 to serve as its COO. Although Wilkinson's LinkedIn page states that he started as CEO and president of New Radical Games in December 2024, around the same time as Hothead Games went bankrupt, the studio's website appears to have recently only gone live. The site says the studio is open for work for hire, full game development on mobile or console games. It's also says it's willing to co-develop with another studio or to handle porting or remastering of an existing title. As well as The Simpsons Hit and Run and Prototype, Radical Entertainment's other previous titles include The Incredible Hulk, Ultimate Destruction, Scarface, The World Is Yours, yep, there we go, Crash Tag Team Racing, and the NES version of Wayne's World. And here we got a picture of Simpsons Hit and Run, which that is their most famous game, is Simpsons Hit and Run. As soon as the studio's website was spotted online, fans of the Simpsons Hit and Run prototype started taking to social media, saying their hope this was going to result in remakes or remasters of either game. As of now, there is no suggestion that either is in the works. In 2023, a Simpsons Hit and Run producer, John Melchior, claimed publisher Vivendi was given the option to make 5 more Simpson games and turned it down, meaning it lost the Simpsons license, even though work had already started on a sequel to Hit and Run. Simpsons Hit and Run 2 would have been done by Radical, and there was a medieval Simpsons game that Matt Groening pitched, which was done at Stormfront after Lord of the Rings, Melchior said at the time. The biggest crime was that Vivendi did not obtain the Simpsons license. Although they had an offer in, the Simpsons came back with an offer 5 games for X amount of dollars. It was a really good deal, and Vivendi said no after the success of Hit and Run. Well, that was a really, missed deal there. So this is their website, New Radical Games. I'll also link this down below. And one thing that has me a bit excited, here we got about Ian Wilkinson and Tim Benison, has their description. But we go down here, it says, a work for hire full game development. Our highly skilled team is available immediately to take on full game, metaverse, or real-time VFX projects. We also provide smaller strike teams to help with optimization, live ops, design, tuning, services, and more. Mobile and console, from early concepting to full spectrum, core development to monetization to testing product market fit and scaling into live ops. Our team has the experience you need to bring your game to life. And then co-dev. We are happy to team up with your staff or another studio to co-develop a great game together. We're ready to function as an extension of your team, and we have resources to scale almost any project. And porting. Expand your reach and re-energize your titles by porting them to new platforms. With our multi-platform expertise, we're excited to help you introduce your game to fresh audiences and remastering. We specialize in remastering classic games by enhancing visuals, audio, and gameplay to revive beloved titles for modern hardware, appealing to both new players and long time. And here, Scarface, the world is yours. They have that on their page. They're excited to show that there. So that does get me excited. And we also have Simpsons Hit and Run and Prototype down here. This is their Hulk game, and this is Civilization. But anyways, here's what I'm going to say about this. Is Scarface getting a remaster or remake? Possible, but right now, at the moment, we have no evidence for it. Now, is some problems with a Scarface potential remake. So even though, the developer has, made a new studio again, and they listed, Scarface as one of the games that they've made, the issue here is that Scarface is a movie game. That's the issue with it. It's a movie game. So even though they had the rights to make the Scarface game, that was, back in 2006, it's 20 years ago, is that the people who own Scarface, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, are Universal Pictures. I think they are the ones who own the rights to Scarface. And there's a Scarface reboot coming out, so they're making a new Scarface movie, which I really don't think they should make a new Scarface movie. But what I will say about this is that if they made Scarface, remake Scarface, or even just release it as an HD remaster, on current gen consoles, that would definitely help promote the new movie. So I don't see why they wouldn't do it. However, though, the issue is that they have to go to Universal and they have to get the an agreement from them to be able to remaster, Scarface and do all of that. So that's the issue there. That's probably the reason that it hasn't appeared on Steam. That's probably one of the reasons. I can't imagine why it hasn't appeared on Steam. So unless they had some kind of contract back then in 2006 that said they, own the rights to it for decades, future, which I highly doubt, is that they're going to have to go to Universal. And on top of that, what people aren't talking about is they're not talking about the music. The Scarface game has this so much 1980s music, and I think most of us can agree here that the game would not be complete without that music. If they took out all those 80s music, oh man, so many fans would be pissed. It would just, ruin the image of the original game. So they have to keep the music, and they have to go through all the music licenses, and that can be an absolute nightmare. But if they get a team together and they get Universal on board and they tell Universal, hey, listen, we want to, remaster this game, and this will help also if your new movie coming up, they might be more willing to accept it. But then also at the same time, you have the bureaucrats, bureaucrats that complicate things just so much more. Scarface, if they make a remake or even a remaster, even an HD remaster, it would not be coming out this year. I don't want to disappoint people. It's going to take some time because, like I said, they got to go to Universal. The music license is probably expired, so they got to deal with a lot of that stuff. And they also, even though they have the voices from the game, they have, all the voices they can just port over. They need to, remake a lot of the game too. They need to do that, which is just going to take some time. And then you also have, I can imagine there's idiots at Activision. Because even though Activision, they're their publisher, by the way, Activision might give them permission for that, but there are some people at Activision, because the publisher are the people who decide what games they're going to be making. Activision might basically say, oh, this is too similar to GTA 6, GTA 6 is coming out, this is, this game will not sell. When, no, it would sell. It would very much sell. And when the Scarface game came out in 2006, a lot of people were actually saying that it was a GTA clone. That's what a lot of people were saying. And those people are complete idiots, because the Vice City and Vice City Stories are based on Scarface. If Scarface did not exist in the movie, Vice City and Vice City Stories would not exist. So that's what Scarface was based on. I know there were some Miami Vice inspirations, but Vice City was mostly based on Scarface. So that's how much influence Scarface has had on Vice City. And so the city that you're seeing in GTA 6, Vice City, is also inspired by the original Vice City, which was inspired by Scarface, the Scarface film. So when people say, oh, it's a GTA clone, there's idiots, because it's, if anything, it will be the GTA who ripped off Scarface, if anything. But here we got Simpsons Hit and Run. Simpsons Hit and Run is probably the game that most people are going to ask for the remaster of. But the problem with this, just like the Scarface remaster or remake, is that Simpsons, I believe, is owned by Disney. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. And they're going to have to go to them and get permission from them in order to develop that. So because, Simpsons is, a TV show also. And so even though they developed the game for that, they're going to need licensing. What I think is the most likely to happen is Prototype. Prototype is probably the game that's going to get remastered or made first, if any of them. So with Prototype 1 and 2, these are PS3 open world games. They were pretty popular when they came out. I know that the first game you play is kind of like a villain, and the second game you play is more of a hero, different character. But about Prototype, I don't think, correct me if I'm wrong, they're going to need any kind of licensing here because they own Prototype and Activision owns Prototype. And so all they basically need to go to Activision and just say, Activision, we want to make a new Prototype game, or we want to remake, the old Prototype games. And Activision basically says, okay, and they start making it. So there isn't like, Scarface or Simpsons where there's all this licensing stuff with, music, the movies and the TV shows. So I think that Prototype is the one that's most likely to be remade. But anyways, let's talk about the Scarface game here. So here we have gameplay of Scarface, The World Is Yours, and this is from my video 6 years ago where I actually talked about what GTA 6 can learn from Scarface. And with the 6-year anniversary coming up in a couple months, there's a chance they might actually announce something. But again, like I said, it could turn into a bureaucratic nightmare going through, Universal Pictures and also going through all of the music companies getting these licenses back. But anyways, about Scarface is this was one of the best GTA competitors out there. So this was one of the few games that could actually really take on GTA and could compete with GTA. Now, I hate the word GTA clone. You guys know that. I like the word GTA competitor because that's what it is. It's not a clone. It is a competitor. It has its own unique features. It's an open world crime game, but it's its own thing. It is not GTA. Some people say GTA clone. It implies the exact same thing as GTA. But I love about this game is the empire building, as you guys see here. You just take over different parts of the city, buy businesses, use them as fronts for your drug empire, take out rival gangs, and you end up taking over all of Miami. And the thing I'll say about this game is I loved the economy in this game. I loved how you could go to the islands. There was basically 2 different maps. There was Miami, but then there was also the islands. And on these islands, you could, meet a drug supplier and you buy a shipment of drugs from him. Like in this case, I bought 30 kilograms of cocaine. And then what you have to do is you have to take a boat, put it on there, and you have to smuggle it back to Miami. And then once you actually get back to Miami, what you do is you funnel that drug money through your fronts. So basically you send that to your to each of your fronts, and they will basically distribute it on the streets for you. That's basically how Tony was hiding his money. It was a great system. But on top of that, with the money itself, this game had the best economy that I've seen of any video game. It had the banking system, and the banking system, I believe, inspired GTA Online system, where, you put your money in there, and GTA Online at the start, at least in 2013, if you died without putting your money in the bank, you'd actually lose a lot more than you are right now. So, they only changed that because people complained about it so much, but that's how the Scarface game was. You either put it in the bank, because if you die, you'll actually get the money back. But if you die with the cash on you, that money is gone. But then when it comes to the money itself, there's just so many different things you can spend the money on. You can spend the money on, different, people, assassin, enforcer, boat pilot. You can buy different vehicles, boats, cars. You can put into different investments, different companies. You can also customize and change the style of the mansion, as you guys see here. A few different styles to it, and you can buy each item and individually place this. You can't even do this in the mansion DLC in GTA Online. You can't individually place items. That's something I've always wanted, but you could do that in the Scarface game. So this game was way ahead of its time, and I think that if this game got remastered or even got a remake, I do think, this is the right thing to be a competitor to GTA. If this game got a remake and then they were making Scarface 2, I'll put my full support behind this because GTA needs a competitor. Why should GTA really be the only open world crime game out there? These people can't ever explain this to me. I hear people saying like, oh, all these games suck, they're GTA clones, but nobody can ever explain to me why should GTA be the only game out there with an open world, a monopoly in the open world crime genre? Why should it? And so if Scarface turns into a series again, I do believe that it can fill that void. And I didn't even talk about the combat here. The combat in the Scarface game was just great. And I loved how dark this game was. I loved the brutality of these games. This game had gore, a lot of blood in it. And how could you forget the rage mode? The rage mode when Tony, goes into first person mode and you just take everyone out. This is such a great game, but there's way more to it than just me talking about a lot more features I haven't even covered. And I will be doing a playthrough of the Scarface game in a few months when it's the 20th anniversary coming up. But thank you guys for watching. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If anybody from New Radical Games sees this video, please, consider my ideas. Please consider, remastering or remaking the Scarface game. I know you guys are going to have to jump through a lot of hoops, but I'm telling you, if you do this, a lot of people will buy this game. This is one of the best open world games that I've ever played in my life. But thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys on the next one. Take care, everyone, and have a wonderful day, guys.